The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Our show today is, believe it or not, our longest standing show. It is probably, without a doubt, the most popular show. It became so popular, we started off on just local in Houston, and then we changed it to Texas, and now it's the entire United States. And just a little bit behind the scene before I want to introduce you to Barry Fowler, who's the president of Taxation Solutions. Barry is in Houston, Texas, and you hear that Texas never gets any snow. Well, Houston got some snow. I was thinking about you, Barry.
Hey, I'm glad you were thinking about us. I just wish you would have been sending warm thoughts.
We didn't have any warm thoughts.
North, man, north. You know, we're not supposed to get snow in Houston. And, I think we got it 4 years ago, and then we get it again this year. And it is what it is. It's nice because you get to see it for a day or two, and then it goes away, and we get back up to it's going to be 70 here this weekend. So, we'll be having fun dealing with what's now going to seem like a heat wave. Wait till the summer and we're at 100 degrees.
Barry, you've got a ranch, or is it a farm?
It's a ranch.
Okay. So you've got animals on your ranch. What happens with the animals? Do you have to bring them in?
Well,
put them in your bedroom?
We go out, we tuck them in at night under a bunch of blankets, and each of the chickens have got to have their own little warming. I'm just kidding. We don't do anything. Chicken coops, we kind of cover up, keep the wind from blowing in and making it worse than it is. The cows, they got thick fur on. It's wintertime. They were good. The donkeys were good. The pigs were good. The pigs just huddle up together and hide underneath the hay and straw that's there for them. So, we're good. The barn cats get into the barn and keep the mice away, and
right
is what it is. So, they all have their own little job to do, and they get it done. Kind of like my staff here at Taxation Solutions. They got their jobs to do, and they get it done. Even through the snow, some of them were being able to log in and work and keep things moving here for our clients and getting things done the right way.
Well, Barry is the president and founder of Taxation Solutions, Inc. He's an enrolled agent. For those of you who don't know what an enrolled agent, we'll get into that. He's licensed to represent taxpayers before the dreaded Internal Revenue Service. I've got so many questions to ask you about that now since President Trump is actually in. Your experience in the tax and finance industry spans over 30 years. It includes tax resolution, tax planning, tax return preparation, and Barry and his company's been instrumental in helping thousands of people resolve complex issues with the IRS. I just want to make one statement, Barry, about how long you've been in business. In your business, boy, there's been a lot of companies that have made a lot of people unhappy with false promises And you notice so many of them going out of business because they ruin their name, their reputation. But for you to be in business for as long as you have been and have such a great reputation, it's just amazing what you've done with Taxation Solutions, Barry.
It's all about taking care of our clients and doing the right thing for them in the right way, so that we can stay in business, so that we can commit to what we say when we first talk to you in that free consultation, to the day that we get the deal done. And then it's communication. So once you're a client of ours, we stay in constant communication with you. Unlike other people, we want you to know what's going on. We need you to be involved. You can't just come in, pay us, and think that I'm done. Information we need from you. There's help we need from you. We need your agreement on what the solution is going to be and what the settlement may be if you're going to settle with the IRS. We're not going to just say yes to the IRS because we think that's the right thing. We need you all in on it, and we need information. Sometimes the IRS asks things that we haven't gathered from you yet, or you haven't disclosed to us, and we need to get that information. So we keep you involved every step of the way. Sometimes some people tell us we keep you involved too much. You quit calling me. No, we want to stay in contact with you. We want you to know what's going on. We want you to be involved that way, so that you don't have any surprises when it comes down to what's going on with the IRS, and you don't get blindsided. Communication is important to us, and that's the way we handle things, and it makes a huge difference in what our clients' experience is going to be versus some of the others that are out there.
Barry, you have a show now, your own show on Mondays with the same station. And this station, I noticed today, they promote on Facebook the day of your show. And we've got 4 different people who all wrote basically the same question, Barry. They want to know now that with President Trump taking over, is the IRS still going to be coming after people as strong as they were during the last administration?
Yes. I mean, I absolutely believe that the IRS is going to stay just as strong as it is until they change the tax system. When they change the tax system, if that ever happens, they've talked about it for many, many years and given different options and stuff like that. They've got to have an agency that's going to have to come after and collect money. Otherwise, this voluntary program of filing our taxes, which doesn't seem very voluntary to anybody, you would have no reason to file for your taxes or pay any taxes. IRS does collections. The IRS is that big bad agency that keeps the engine primed with money from you and I and everybody else. So they're going to continue to do that. If they change the system and go to an external revenue service where they're just collecting tariffs and got rid of the tax system, then they'll have a new IRS. It'll be external revenue service, and they'll be going after the companies to collect money from them. Will they ever collect enough money doing that? I don't know how they could, but hey, that's for our congressman and president to make that decision and decide from there. But for now, this is a system we've got to deal with, and they're going to still be just as big and bad and ugly as they have been in the past. So, yeah, you need to deal with it. If you've got a tax problem, it's a good time to step in and get something done and solve that problem so you can sleep at night.
Another question that people have, Barry, is because people really do trust you and they trust your opinion. They want to know is President Trump really going to be able to stop taking taxes out of tips, Social Security, and other promises that he's made. Will he actually be able to do that?
Now, so you got to understand, people don't go back to what we learned in elementary school, middle school. How do laws get passed in this country? It's not an executive order. It's not
Right.
a king. Obama thought he was king and wrote millions of executive orders and did things that, hey, sometimes I look at it and go, man, if I'd have known that, I'd have been king, and I would love to run for president because it would have been easy. But you got to go through the process. You've got to go through and have a bill and have that bill pass through the House and the Senate and come to the president's desk to be signed. The way to change the laws on income and what income is taxed is going to be through Congress. And it's going to take an act of Congress. These people that are congressmen and congresswomen have to man up and say, yes, we're going to enact the promises that Trump put out there. It's part of his Make America Great stance. And, there's going to be some complications if you're going to not tax tips. Are they going to be taxed for Social Security and Medicare? Are they going to be taxed, for federal income tax? And then you're going to deal with a whole different tax for state. So you're going to have complications there. Then Social Security. I believe they should give a carte blanche on Social Security. It's your money, my money. We've paid this money in, and I'll be doggone that it shouldn't be taxed again. We've already been taxed on it, and the same goes. I wish he would stand up and say, hey, once you're 62 and a half, if you start taking this money, or even 67 or 65, whatever time you start taking Social Security money, there's no offset for what you earn. There's not a government offset for what you earn from a government pension. Why should there be an offset to my pension through Social Security if you or I decide to start taking it once we hit, 62 and a half or 65 or 67, whatever year you're going to take it? We shouldn't be impacted by what we earn outside of that unless everybody else is. Just level the playing field. Matter of fact, while we're at it, because I'm so good at this, let's put every congressman, every senator, everybody that works in the federal government into Social Security, just like you and I. Let's watch how fast Social Security gets fixed. It'll be fixed tomorrow. I would almost guarantee it. If every federal employee was in Social Security, just like you and I, it would be fixed tomorrow. We can solve this problem. You and I could solve the nation's problems right here on this show.
Absolutely. Hey, Barry, tell people, I kind of skipped over it a little bit, and you've got a lot of great things going on at Taxation Solutions. Talk about Taxation Solutions, your baby.
My baby. I got two babies here, and not even talking about my kids. I'm just talking about my businesses. But, Taxation Solutions, we started this out of absolute need from some of our clients that were coming to our tax business and running into problems with the IRS. And they would say, hey, what can you do? And, hey, I went to this company and they just didn't do me right. And we said, wait a minute, we can handle this. We can deal with this. And we got started doing this. And this is, now 30 years ago. And, actually more than that, it's closer to 40, but I'm not going to put myself under the bus on that one. And, so as we were going through business, we finally said, hey, we need to just set up a separate business out here, Taxation Solutions. All it does is tax relief and solves people's problems across the country. And, we started out in the Houston area and grew Texas and been nationwide for, 30 plus years doing this. And just finding that people have such a need to have somebody else deal with the IRS. It's an emotional issue, and sometimes you get attached to something like your own money and you don't want to give it up. And now you're fighting and exchanging words with somebody with the Internal Revenue Service. And all you're going to do is lose because they just look at you and go, okay, you got it. I'm just going to go levy it. You've told me where it's at. I'm going to go get it. You told me where you work. I'm going to garnish your wages. I'm going to make this easy on the government, and I'm going to collect from you because you made me mad. Hiring somebody like us and hiring our staff at Taxation Solutions, we take out the emotion out of it. We can empathize and sympathize with you. And then we can deal with the IRS according to the IRS manual, by law, and explain to them how you can't afford to pay and how you may qualify for this offering compromise, or how you can't afford to pay and maybe you should just be in non-collectible, or how you can only afford to pay a little bit and you should be on a partial pay installment agreement, or maybe you can afford to pay but you want to hold on to your assets and you just need a payment plan, and we can get those set up for you without you having to go through the hassle of dealing with the IRS yourself. And it takes the emotion out of it. It allows you to sleep, allows you to tell your wife, hey, I was able to man up and get somebody to help me deal with this problem that I haven't wanted to deal with for the last year or two. And we don't have to worry about the IRS levying our bank account, garnishing my wages, and it makes life a little bit easier at home, at work, and especially when you try to lay down and go to sleep.
I think the greatest part, Barry, is once somebody signs up with Taxation Solutions, they no longer have to talk to the IRS anymore. And you've told me so many times on the show before that people will start talking to them, and then by the time they come to you, they've really hurt themselves by things they've said.
Oh, absolutely. We were just dealing with a guy that just called us, I think it was Monday, and complaining because all of a sudden his bank account got levied. Now, all of a sudden, he's been talking to the revenue officer. He actually levied the account 2 weeks ago, and he just finally manned up enough to call us on Monday to say his bank account, was levied, and it was levied on the day after his payday. So he lost everything.
How long did it take, Barry, for them to levy his account?
Well, they'll send out a final notice of intent to levy, and then usually within about 45 days, they're going to make that levy. It's usually 30 to 45 days, depending on when it hits the bank. But then once they've done that, they can levy your account anytime and not warn you or tell you, because it's open season. Once they sent you that final notice of intent to levy, they can do it every payday if they want. If you got a really bad revenue officer, he may levy you today, take your money, wait another month or two, levy you again. If they didn't get your attention the first time, maybe they got your attention the second time. Maybe they only got really unlucky and they got $1 or $2 out of your account. And then you paid the $100 and some to the bank for this levy that came through, because they get their money too. And then, so they decide a month or two later, they go through and levy, and they take more money from you. And you got to stop it. It's a wake-up call. If you didn't already wake up from those IRS letters, that levy is a wake-up call for yourself. Hey, one thing I do want to ask.
Go ahead,
Stephen. We wrote this wonderful IRS playbook. 3 simple steps to get the IRS off your back. And you can go to www.irsplaybook.info. Now, hey, I'm going to get you to put the scroll on there at the bottom of the YouTube here, so that everybody can, if you're tuning in online and can see this, you can see the scroll and you know exactly where to go. Again, it's www.irsplaybook.info. It's an information package for you. Go in there, sign up for it, get it, watch it. It really is 3 simple steps to get the IRS off your back. Again, just go to irsplaybook.info. We wrote this, trying to help people as much as possible.
Here we go.
So as much as possible, we put this together to try to help you If you want to try to do it yourself, you can go here and do this. If you want more information on kind of the things we do, you can go here. It's all about helping you get the IRS off your back and stopping the IRS. Now, I don't always recommend do it yourself, but there's a lot of do it yourselfers out there. And you can ask my wife about do it yourselfers, even on my ranch. We were putting in water lines, and I decided I could be a plumber. Yeah, after 4 months of continuing bursting Plex pipe going out into the ranch, and it's PVC Plex, so it's outdoor rated and everything else, we kept having the same doggone water leak in the same place over and over and over again. And I probably spent hundreds of dollars just trying to find fixes to fix this thing, and finally called the plumber, and he just looked at me and laughed and went, "Pull this crap out of here and put in regular PVC because this isn't going to work." All right, let's do it. Started over, redug the trenches, and we redid everything. I helped the plumber, but I figured it was better with me helping a little bit than me trying to do it myself and having him come back out and redo the whole thing again. So, hey, we got there finally and got it done. Or being an electrician. My wife's more worried that I'm going to fall off a ladder after I shock myself to death because I forget to turn off the power. Get somebody to deal with this because it helps you sleep. And if it doesn't help you sleep, it may help your wife sleep. And she knows you've actually manned up and took care of the problem instead of just tinkering with it.
Barry, you know what I wanted to ask you, and by the way, people love your stories. So you could always share as many stories as you want, but when they garnish your wages from your bank, does the bank allow you to stay open, or do they shut your account down?
So, okay, garnishing wages and levying your bank account are two different things. Garnishing your wages, they went to your employer.
Oh, the employer, okay.
And they told the employer that you have to be garnished this amount of money based on how often you get paid, how much money you make. They leave you a little bit of money, supposedly, to be able to live on. I've never seen anybody could live on the amount of money they leave you with when they garnish your wages. And then you've got a problem because now your employer knows that you have an IRS problem as well. And so it doesn't look really good on you dealing with this. And I'm going to tell you, I even had somebody they were afraid to tell me they had an IRS problem and they were working for me.
Wow.
And we got a notice of garnishment. And
your own employee.
My own employee who knows what I do, knows my track record, was afraid to tell me. They were embarrassed. So, pick up that phone and call us. Don't be embarrassed. When we got that letter, his first inkling was to come in and quit. And I went, "Why are you going to quit?" He goes, "Man, I can't afford to live. I can just move to another job and it'd be a year or two down the road and they'll find me and garnish again." "Do you know what I do?" "Yeah." Give me a moment here. Got the revenue officer's name, number, picked up the phone, called them, submitted some paperwork, got the wage garnishment lifted off of him, and said, "Now you can work. Now let's get things done. Now let's get a solution in place." He went, "You really could do that?" "Absolutely. Haven't you seen what I do?" He goes, "Yeah, but I just thought, this just took a long time to do and you couldn't lift a wage garnishment." Yeah, there's going to be solutions that take a long time to put in place, but sometimes you need that immediate help, the immediate way of taking some of the pressure off of you to deal with the problem. And now it's bought us enough time to submit that offering compromise because you need the offering compromise to, get your life in order. And the guy went, hey, that's great. So do banks shut you down? No, banks aren't going to shut you down because you got a levy on your bank account from the government. The bank's going to tell you you can't put any more checks through. Any checks that you did write that haven't come through yet are going to bounce. So put money in your account so that they don't bounce those checks. And then you have NSF fees on top of that. So you may have to go to friends or family and borrow money and explain it to them. And that's why it becomes even more important for you to reach out to Taxation Solutions. Give us a call at 877-996-6477 and let us start down that path of putting a solution in place to prevent those bank levies so that you don't have to be embarrassed to go borrow money. We have a no judgment zone. We're not passing judgment on you. We actually think the IRS is going to be wrong, and we're going to find ways to prove them that they're wrong. If there's something we can do to fix the tax problem without having to go through the IRS to do it, maybe your tax preparer just screwed up royally and we need to fix that. Whatever it may be, we're going to find the right solution to your problem to make it better.
Barry, it's not like, well, if this solution doesn't work, there's nothing else we can do. You have options that you can offer your clients.
Yeah, you see, I have this huge safe, and all I have to do is just open it up, and I go in there and I pull out the next option and move on and go. It's kind of like our arsenal. We're well armed and versed in everything that we need to do to put solutions in place for our clients. Sometimes the solution is the ideal be all end all, supposedly offering compromise. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just not right for you, even if you qualify for it, because offers in compromise comes with a 5-year deal of staying in compliance. And I'll tell you this, there are a few clients of ours that we've had to tell them, we just don't want to do an offering compromise for you because we know you're never going to stay in compliance for 5 years. Oh, yes, I will. No, we've been down this road. You got an offering compromise 2 years ago, and you're back to us because you violated the rules of the offering compromise of staying in compliance. We don't want to take you down that path and set you up for failure. Let's take you down the path of partial pay installment agreement. And then the consequences of failure to stay in compliance aren't as great. And we can still get debt removed from you as the CSED's statute of limitations do run out. So there's many different ways to solve the problem. And we're going to look at what's the best one, for you. Hey, another good story for you today. I just got off the phone with him. He's a bookkeeping client of ours now. This gentleman is an older gentleman. We tried to take him down the road of offering compromise actually twice. The first 2 times he didn't disclose some stuff to us, so we couldn't. The first time he didn't disclose some stuff to us, so we couldn't get him through the offering compromise. We took him back to offering compromise. He couldn't keep up with his estimated tax payments in any way, shape, or form. He runs a business, and it's been a very lucrative insurance business and everything. So he's done very well for himself. The third time, I finally said, hey, look, let me do exactly what we need to do to restructure your life, your business, and the way you do things so that you can qualify for an offering compromise. And he went, what? So we restructured his business. We set him up with this corporation, and he gets a certain paycheck every month. He gets distributions from his company every month. His company pays enough money in through his payroll to cover any estimated tax payments he needs to be making. So he doesn't have any problems making estimated tax payments anymore. His distributions are only taxed to federal income tax and not Social Security and Medicare. And we've lowered his taxes down and then got his offering compromise put through. The funny story is he had his house free and clear. We were able to get his house value lowered down, even in an increasing value of houses out there. He did get a mortgage to pay the amount on the offering compromise, so it would be paid off immediately when he got the offering compromise approved. And we got removed close to $250,000 worth of debt.
Wow.
I was talking to him today, and it just reminded me of this of what we did for him, when I was talking to him, he goes, man, I just want to let you know, I couldn't tell you how much I appreciate what you've done. My credit scores have gone up to 800 plus. I now have actually money in the bank that I've never had before, because the IRS would always take it when I got it. And I'm sitting on, a good chunk of change, so that life has become so much better since we put you in charge of actually finding a way to get that offer in compromise approved. And it's those things that, wake us up and make us excited each day, is that, hey, we know with a little cooperation from you in working with us, we can find a way to try to help you get that offer in compromise, whether you're running a small business, whether you're on W-2 income, whatever the case may be, there are options out there for you. We just got to find the right option to make it work.
Very many times we'll start off the show talking about people who stick that letter from the IRS in that drawer thinking it's going to go away. And you've shared with people how it's not going to go away, but share with people, someone who the IRS is coming after, but have never been in this position before. We're not trying to scare people, but people should know what the IRS can do to you.
Well, it really depends on the amount of money, and it depends on, what is happening, or what you've done or haven't done that has gotten you in this situation. I mean, those letters, first thing you want to do is read it. It doesn't do you any good to put it in your desk or throw it in the circular file, or out with the rest of the trash or into the burn pile, whatever it may be. That's not what you want to do with it. You want to open it up and read it. There's nothing in that letter that's going to bite you. It may hurt reading it, actually, there's some of the letters that are actually good. They're sending you a check, so it doesn't hurt you to open it up and read it. It's nothing's going to immediately happen just because you open a letter. There isn't a mousetrap in there, or a rattlesnake or something. It may feel like it, but it basically is going to explain to you what the IRS is looking for. Whether it's, hey, you're going through an audit, whether it's a correspondence audit, you may have left something off your tax return, or whether it's, hey, you owe this, pay this, and pay it before this date. Those are letters. They're paper. You might get a paper cut. That's probably the worst thing that can happen to you. Well, actually, worst thing that can happen is your wife's looking over your shoulder and reading and going,
yeah,
you did not deal with this yet?
Yeah, right.
Okay, you may be sleeping out in the doghouse, and I hope it's not snowing. But now it's time to pick up that phone and call us at 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477. And then you can say, honey, I've made that free call. I've got that free consultation. And here's what we're going to do. Taxation Solutions is going to start working with us and figuring out a solution to this problem. I tell you what, most people that I talk to, if they've done that, the wife's not yelling anymore.
Yeah.
She's saying thank you. She might have even given you a kiss, but she's telling you thank you at the very least. She may not be over the heat of the moment of seeing that, hey, you guys owe this kind of money. But it's a start. If you don't do that and you file that letter, the IRS is going to send you another letter. And guess who's opening that letter? Not you, your wife. Guess what happens again? We don't have to go there, do we? Call that number. You ignore that one. The IRS sends you the next letter, which is your final notice of intent to levy. And that means they are going to levy your bank account. And trust me, when I say they're going to, they're the biggest, baddest collection agency in the world. They know where you bank. They will find it. They will levy it. Here's the worst part. You've got an account with your name and social security number on it, or your wife's name and social security number on it. You've got kids' accounts. Your social security number is attached to those kids' accounts, right?
Never thought of that.
They just levied everything your social security number is tied to. So if your kids had money, or you had money set aside for your kids, they just took that as well. How do I know this? Great example. Guy called, said, hey, we just got levied. Okay, but can you get my kids' college money back? What? Yeah, we had college funds and I'm a signer on their account. My social security number's on their account as well. And they took everything my kids had for college.
Wow.
But their
I never would
grandmother,
have thought about that.
their grandmother gave them. Good news is I was able to get all that college money back with letters from the grandmother and proof that the grandmother put the money in there for these kids and told him to get his social security number off those accounts immediately so we don't ever have this problem again. But that becomes the problem. You ignored letter after letter after letter. They just grabbed your attention is what they did. They didn't get enough money to solve your tax debt. In this guy's case, that was just a small portion of what he owed. But they had pulled more than $70,000 out of these accounts. 60 of it was between their two kids' college funds. 10 was his own money. So not only did he have to, we had to get that money back for the kids, then he had to explain to his wife how he let this continue to snowball and this happen. So, there's a lot of things out there that are moving parts, and you've got to take the time to make the phone call and get the free consultation. And I'll be honest, Steve, whether it's us or somebody else, just man up and do it. Man up and take care of the problem before it gets worse.
Barry, we just got a message from somebody listening. What a wonderful expert you have on today. I just found your show by accident. I'm having some difficulties. I'm glad you handled the entire United States. Is it really true that you can settle on pennies on the dollar as I hear commercials?
Well, Steve,
you've heard that before, haven't you?
I hate that line. That is, somebody out there advertising and using something that they shouldn't be using out there. To be honest, we can settle a lot of different tax debts, and we get good settlements on tax debts that we take on. First off is you make that free consultation phone call and then be 100% open and honest with us. So we can tell you what that solution is going to look like for you. If you're not honest with us, then whatever we tell you is going to be worthless, to be honest with you.
Right.
I use examples in life where we had a guy that owned a bunch of property, but he never disclosed it to us, and it was free and clear. He thought if he hadn't told us, then the IRS wouldn't know, and we could get him the solution we told him we could get him. And he was going to settle for very little on a lot of money. But when we get to the settlement phase with the IRS came back and went, hey, this gentleman owns these, I think he had close to 1,000 acres of land.
Wow.
Worth several millions of dollars. And they went, he expects to get a settlement. I'm like, hey, nothing I can do about it. You got to be honest with whoever you talk to and full disclosure for us. I mean, that's the reason we ask the questions. How much do you make? What do you own? What assets do you have? So we can help you get the right solution in place. Not everybody's going to qualify for the offering compromise. People believe they should based on what they hear. People believe they will based on what some of the other companies out there will tell them. But if
There's a
you
lot of false advertising out there in your industry, isn't there, Barry?
very misleading advertising,
Yes,
very misleading
misleading.
because you miss the one word they say, possibly, possibly,
Ah,
and how fast they say it. So, it's kind of like the disclaimers at the end of the medical ads where they're just reading off a whole bunch of things that could go wrong if you took this medicine. These people will come in and say anything to get you to call them, and then they're going to sweet talk you into whatever it is. I'm not here to sweet talk you. I'm here to just tell you like it is and say, hey, you don't qualify, but we can probably get you into a partial pay installment agreement. Hey, we need to do a lot more analysis on this, and there may be some other things we can do to solve this problem. I'm not going to come in and say, hey, right off the bat, you necessarily going to get that offer in compromise to settle for, $100 on $1 million. We've got to look at it. We're going to do some analysis. There may be a reason that we can get you a better solution at a better way. Offering compromise and that settlement isn't always the right thing to do. It's just one of many solutions that are out there. And you got to look at your options. And, we can say, yes, we can solve your problem. And many times we tell you, hey, your solution to your problem is going to be a payment plan. I don't know what the payment plan is going to look like quite yet, but it's going to be a payment plan, and it's going to be your best way to go. So let's get moving on it and get that solution in place. So, and a lot of times we develop payment plans where the statute of limitations run out and you get rid of a lot of a debt. I had a guy that came to me that if somebody else hadn't convinced him to do an offer in compromise, which we knew he wasn't going to qualify for, his solution would have been in place and a lot of his debt would have fallen off within about a year or two because of the statute of limitations. Instead, he went and worked with another company and they were going to do an offer in compromise with him. Well, once you file for an offer in compromise, it stopped the statute of limitations. On top of that, they did CDP hearings, which stopped the statute of limitations, drug out his case 3 years, added those 3 years to his statute of limitations. Instead of coming up with a solution where a lot of his debt would have fallen off in a year and a half, it added stress to his family and his life for 3 more years because he was tinkering with some other company who wasn't going to get him the right solution that he needed. He came to us, we put him into a partial pay installment agreement where he was on a very low payment plan for more like 5 years, but within that 3-year period, majority of his debt fell off and there was only 1 year left that was less than $5,000, but the payment plan was so low that he just paid the low payment for the next 3 years and got rid of all his debt. And it became a much simpler and easier plan for him than going to the extreme of the offering compromise. And he said, I just never understood it. I said, well, we tried to explain it many years ago. You finally came back to us when you were done tinkering with the other company and got somebody that wanted to put a true good solution in place that actually works. So you can have the pipe dream. People will sell you the pipe dream all day long. It always sounds great. And that's what you wanted because you heard the commercial. Does it make it the right thing, the right way? No, not necessarily. You got to sit down and look at all the options to make sure things are right. And that's why we sit down and go through a complete transcript analysis to know that, hey, what we're doing is the right way to do it.
Barry, we've got so much to remind people about. First of all, let's give everybody the playbook. That's important.
www.irsplaybook.info. irsplaybook.info. Connect with us at Taxation Solutions on Facebook. You can go to taxationsolutions.net. You can click to our Facebook page. We'll have the IRS playbook over there on Facebook as well. So if you get over to Facebook, you can connect to our irsplaybook.info and you can get running from there. Don't forget to come to our show Mondays, 10 a.m. Eastern time. You can connect there at taxtalk4u.com, or just come right here to W4CY Radio and watch us live, listen to us live. We're going to be talking about tax season 2025. What do we need to prepare to do our taxes for 2024? It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good show. And I promise I will probably get on my soapbox about our government and what we can do to fix it. I've been good at doing that. And my wife said, soapbox is big and gets taller every day.
Well, and then you only tell people, since anywhere in the United States, you can go to iHeart, all their podcasts, every one of Barry's shows are on iHeart's podcast under Ask the Experts. You can go to YouTube, so you can always go back and replay these shows. Barry, bro, I love you, man. I mean,
hey, I love
you get that big monkey off of people's back. That's what you do.
Yes, that's what we do. But it starts with calling us at 877-996-6477. Again, 877-996-6477. Hey, I recommend get in there and watch these Ask the Expert shows. These are fantastic shows. I love doing them. Gets a lot of information out. And Steve, you're great. I really appreciate everything you guys do for us and the information we can get out working with you.
Barry, you're the only expert I have. I do not have to have any notes. I don't have to have anything. It's just, it's amazing. We thought 25 minutes went by fast. 50 minutes just goes by fast.
And maybe we need to move to a 2-hour show.
Unbelievable.
And have more fun.
Stay warm. You got 2 shows coming up again next month. We'll let people know when those are. Barry, Godspeed to you, bro.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. God bless everybody.
That's Barry Fowler. God, amazing. That's it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Thank you to our great producer, Juan. Keeps us going. We'll see you all next week.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.